everyone's here because they want to write the exam, but is anyone wanting to write it very quickly or very soon? Are there any people that have actually bought the coupon and ready to start writing the exam? Yeah. Paul. Oh, okay. We can't see you, but anybody else?
I want to do that. I have already enrolled for the exam and didn't finalize the date, but yeah, looking forward to appear for the exam soon. Actually, I wanted to ask that do you have the DIY for one of the specialist exam also? Because I've chosen data quality as one of the exam.
So yes, we're going to show you some of those. We don't actually have a DIY for the data quality. We don't have enough questions at this point in time. We're working on that. So now that we've sort of got to the exam categories, we'll now start to, between Veronica and I and the team, we'll start to build a whole lot of questions, because we need to try to get almost 100 to 150 questions. We're sitting on, Veronica, if I'm correct, we're sitting on around about 50, 55 at the moment. Is that correct?
55 DQ questions.
Yeah.
I think so.
Okay.
At least, yeah.
Yeah. So that's what we've got to get, a rather comprehensive set at the moment. We think our questions are round about the practitioner level, and it will be okay today to show you those, just to give you an example of the category, of the exam category. But we don't believe we've got enough master level questions, if that makes sense.
Sure. Thanks. Yeah.
Okay. Great. Okay, so there's one we'll be paying attention to. You'll be watching LinkedIn and see how you do. And there's Tayakula who's going to do the fundamentals. The fundamentals are great. We've got that bank of questions that really help you get there. Okay. All right. So let's dig into this. As I said, please ask, as Debbie said, ask as many questions as you would like. And let's have a discussion. So in this section, as part of the data quality course, what I've tried to do is show you the exam categories and then link it to the sections in the DMBOK. Okay, so there's data quality activities, the context diagram that we know, and this section over here. We then got dimensions, and fortunately we've got in section 1.33, we've got dimensions. It is 11%, so there are going to be quite a few questions on that in terms of the different dimensions. I will be giving you some idea of the type of questions and the different ways of looking at dimensions. Now, fit for purpose, other than that initial statement, which was the fit or meets the needs of the consumers, I don't really see anything, but I'm going to help you just see how we can do that mapping. Okay, then we've got the introduction. That's pretty easy. That's on that first set. 10% management, operations, statistical approaches. So please, I know in our fundamentals, we actually jump over this and we do show you central tendency and probability. We just show you some brief slides, but this one you need to really understand it. And my recommendation is, I know what I did is I actually put an Excel spreadsheet and I had a set of or a column, and at the bottom or next to the column I had everything from average, mean, medium, and it gave me those calculations, standard deviation. So I was then able to make use of that spreadsheet during the exam. It's given, it's going to come up, so be ready for that. Okay, and then we've got tools and templates. All right, any questions, observations on that? Okay. All right, let's go to the next step. So these are the different slides that show you that, the different levels. So this one is the data quality activities. There's the activities as defined by the DMBOK. And a lot of it's about producing. So there we have defining high quality data, data quality strategy, initial assessment, scope it, perform it, improve, and prioritize, and then go into the operational mode. Okay. So just as a quick question, who can tell me what do we mean by defining high quality data? Can anyone remember that section in the DMBOK? Many volunteers at the moment. Veronica, can you help me?
Planning,
Yes, it's
the
certainly
planning
part of the
parts of the
planning.
life cycle. Business, business rules.
Yes,
We need
but
business to
it's
tell us what they want.
right, right, and then also, I think what the important thing there is, Eka put it there, expectations is, what do we mean by high quality? Does high quality mean perfect data? Does high quality mean the best motor car or the you know, and then how do we link that to the purpose statement, and how do we, what's the right quality of the data that we're dealing with? Okay, so that's the defining of the high quality data. Okay, then we go into a business case or the strategy, and it's really important here to be able to understand how do we identify the business need, the business requirement, the data quality expectations, findings and issues. So we're wanting to go through the development of a business case. And I'm going to take you through this slowly. And the first thing that's important is to remember that the business case a lot of the times came from project management and program management, right? So what they were trying to do is justify why it's worth exploring an opportunity if it has justification for the proposed project. Okay, so we're trying to understand and explain to the business why it's worth it. And a lot of the times, without the cost, without you being able to understand the cost of poor quality data, and then that's almost the opposite of high quality data, or it doesn't reach the level of high quality data, then we need to be able to quantify that. Okay, so making the case why spending money, figuring out how to address a problem and going after an opportunity makes sense. So that's what this business case is all about, and it's basically explaining why we should fund the adventure or the DQ program. That's what we're trying to do in this area. Okay, and these will go to, so for example, the one question I had in my exam, I believe it was a master question, is that how do we convince the CIO in terms of their involvement? And so we remember that the CIO is focusing more on application and technology, and for them it was what is their view of data quality and how do they become involved in the data quality program and how does it benefit them? Okay. All right. So again, just this is the overview of what a business case looks like, and we have to be able to describe these objectives. And we need financial metrics, cash flow, rate on return, return on investments, cost of ownership. So how much is all of this technology, people, process, all these things, how much is it going to cost the program? And then we do a cost versus benefit analysis. Okay. And I like this slide in terms of saying a business case should answer these critical questions. Okay. Do we have a data quality program? A quality problem, sorry, not a quality program. Where are we as an organization? What are our strengths? What are our weaknesses? What's our maturity like at the moment? Okay, so you need to be able to explain this is where we are and it's not good enough, or we need more skills or more people or more technology, whatever the issue is, to be able to deal with this situation. Okay, how do we deal with the people side of it? Okay, so there we use the ADCAR. the awareness, presenting that to our stakeholders, the desire by stakeholder. So what are they going to get out of this thing? Okay, lots of effort that's going to go into it, and where's their benefit? Training, so we need to be able to train everyone, and then what we refer to as ability and reinforcement. So are the data stewards able to define a data quality expectation? Are they able to define it? Are they able to diagnose sometimes where things are going wrong? Because a lot of this is related to the business process. And so they should be able to say, right, that field that we're getting wrong in our BI report, that's because this process or this way in which we're doing it is not being done appropriately. So they almost need to be able to connect the dots from the BI report through to the application process or the import. They're the ones who are going to connect it. Of course, data lineage is going to help them. So if we have a data lineage from the report back to the data set and the table, that would be great. Okay, and then in some way, they need to connect it to the business process. And then the last question is we refer to what's return on investment. So simplistically said, the cost of reduction from that quality improvement, okay, that should be greater than or equal to the cost of the data quality program. Okay, so that your business case has to be able to prove this. So any questions on that? Let me go through a little bit further to show you how to do it. I just wanted, I don't know if Debbie's there. Debbie, we are going to have John Ladley. Yeah, John Ladley, right. On his book, People and Data. Is Debbie there? No, she's dropped off. Okay, so we are, I think, no, it's not John Ladley. It's Thomas Redman. Thomas Redman, he's just published a book on people and data, and it's all about data quality. Sorry?
You don't want to come?
Yeah. All right, so let's go. This is Tom Redman. He talks about Friday afternoon measurement. Okay, so what he likes to do is basically set up 2-hour sessions with different business departments and do what he calls a Friday afternoon measurement session. Or if you're in the Gulf, then, or a lot of times you're doing a Thursday morning in Saudi. So this is the approach that he uses. He basically does an extract of 100 of the records, top records. And he filters the data that he shows on the screen to be the most important attributes, almost our critical data elements. So in this, we can see we have the name of the customer, the size, the color, and the amount that they spent. What color? So it looks like some form of retail transactions. And there we can see record A, B, C, all the way to 100. And he sits with the business people and says, okay, if you look at this record, is it perfect? Is the record perfect? Simple question, yes or no. It's a 1 or a 0. If the business people say yes, that's great. Then we get, and he goes through all of this and he says perfect equals 67 out of 100. And then you can see size has got 24 problems, color has got 5 problems, and amount has got 2 problems. Okay. And then he'll go to a different data set. Okay, then he goes and he does a whole lot of different data sets. Now that can, typically what he likes to do is start off with a report, some form of BI report that's giving him transactional information. Okay, he does this calculation and then he applies what he calls the rule of 10. So we need to, or the business case needs to be able to give some form of cost to the areas that we are facing. And he basically saying that this cost of 10 has worked for him for many years, and it describes something like this. It costs 10 times as much to complete a unit of work when the input data is defective as it does when it's perfect. So there's the discussion. If it was perfect data, the unit cost would be $1. Therefore, 100 units is equal to $100. But if we only have 67, we've got a total cost of $1 for the 67, and then 33 multiplied by 10 for the incorrect one. So we have 667 plus 330 gives us $397. Okay. So we can see there that the 33% that are causing us problems, it's actually escalating that figure up from 100 to 397. Okay, and that's what you're doing in terms of of providing some form of cost impact on your report. What you may then do is to say, okay, typically we would work, he's done a sample of 100, he would work on, maybe we only looking at the first or the last 3 months or the last year of data. He would then extrapolate it not to multiplying by 100, but multiplying by the number of records in the last year or so. And then he'd give an amount. Okay, is there any, and there was a publication, I think it was by John O'Gorman on LinkedIn, where he said it's 1 for the right ones, it's 10 for defective data, and it's 100 for lost data in terms of business continuity. So there's someone else who's now gone 1, 10, 100 in terms of the impact of these on the business. Okay, are there any questions in terms of how you would use this to get a simple equation? Of course, you're going to share this with the business in terms of when you publish your business case. This is the way you calculate it. There's quite a few papers online where they justify this rule of 10. So that's also going to be helpful as an estimation, a tool to estimate. Any questions? Right. So then he goes and there's a few other tools that we should do. So when we're trying to understand where we are as an organization, he does what's called a force field analysis. And I basically, in my simplification in terms of how to describe this is almost a SWOT analysis with some numeric allocation to quantify the force that we're dealing with. So he talks about driving forces and restraining forces. Okay, driving forces, strengths and opportunities. What external opportunities have been talked about in the market, success stories, opportunities. So a great example of that is ChatGPT. Everyone's raving about how much they're getting out of ChatGPT. So those are the type of opportunities that we see. The strengths in the organization, people and process, and then, of course, data and technology. Okay, so improvements, are we seeing technology improving? They can deal with some of our issues. And then we have external threats are failures, regulation, organizational weakness, people and capabilities, and then data and technology. So we would look at examples of where technology has failed, where it's almost causing us to go slow, we can't keep up, we're not agile enough. And so we're actually slowing the business down. So where is it causing a problem with our current technology stack? Okay, so that's what that force field does. And I like the way he presents it. So can you see restraining forces are pushing down? So it's a little bit like that Ishikawa diagram. Okay, so the Ishikawa diagram, there's a nice way to order and position your challenges, and the ones pushing down are making the problem bigger, and the one pushing up is alleviating the problem in some form. So here's an example of external issues. That would be threats and opportunities within the organization. That's internal. And then we have data technology. Where is it? For example, can we use AI to do some of our quality enrichment? Okay, so there's a question from Eka. And where is the benefit part? Does he calculate the benefits? Okay, so Eka, I think what he is saying there is What we are trying to do is if we uplift, basically, let's say we go from 67 to 80, then he would say, okay, that's our next target. We want to get perfect equals 80. Then we would say it would be 80 times 1, and then we've got 220 times 10 gives us 200. That gives us 280. So we then have a savings of 397 minus 280, which gives us $217 US. That would be the benefit. Does that make sense, Eka? Sure if anyone's answering me or not. Eka, did I answer your question?
It makes sense to me, Howard. Thank you.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. So you would remember with, this is also the important thing about high quality data or our improvement cycles. If you remember that Duran trilogy, okay, Duran then almost positions, this is the level of quality that we have at the moment. The 33 is where our chronic waste is. We have a 33 chronic waste. What's the next thing that we want to go to? We would use the Pareto principle, okay, and then we would choose our next target. And that's part of the plan, do, check, act loop of let's plan to get to the next target, do the fixes, check to see whether we got it, and so we would keep on going. All right. Okay. So nice way of describing it and being able to show the business in your business case as to where we're battling. So instead of doing the business impact of data science, we would be doing the business impact of data quality. And this is our fishbone diagram. And this over here is also talking about what is the current impact or the current state that we are experiencing at the moment. And there you can see as an example, organization alacrity, which is agility. So technology, if we using the incorrect technology, our agility is not where it needs to be. So it's that type of diagram. Okay, then there's another tool that's been used in terms of, this is the SWOT analysis, which is great. But then what you can do is use what's called this TOWS analysis, and that gives you the following. Can I use a strength to take advantage of an opportunity? So in this situation, can my brand and reputation help me to expand internationally? Okay, and you go through each one. Can my brand and reputation help me to grow e-commerce, or to start selling to banks, or create an additional product, or hire a new talented CTO? So of course, our brand and reputation is good because people, hopefully, if they're seeing that we're doing good work, they would want to join us. So we would then describe what strengths can address what opportunities. Use the strengths to take advantage. Then we go strengths and threats. Use the strengths, brand and reputation, to deal with poor online reviews or to deal with customer churn, revenue decline. And so in comparing the different areas, and then weakness and threats, and then basically saying, is our weakness resulting in a threat? Okay, so are people coming into the market because we are weak in those areas? And a great example or an experience that I had is with the banks. I know this was in South Africa with the banks at some stage, because it was taking so long to approve loans. We then had some fintech startups that were able to offer loans in a lot shorter period of time. And then they started facing these threats of the loan or the amount of loans or information or money that they were lending out reduced dramatically. Okay, so that becomes a threat. Okay, I hope you all are seeing that and everyone's comfortable. Okay, now this is an example of how you would do it for ChatGPT. So remember that data architect, for any of the data architects there, this is the type of thing you should be doing for each new technology. When a new technology comes along, Remember, you have to act as an agent of transformation. You want to build something like this in terms of being able to show them what we could do, what the threats are, and you'd help them understand it. But this is what I really like. I do have an Excel spreadsheet of those that are interested in using this thing, where you quantify, you're trying to get a numeric quantification of what we're dealing with. Okay, so this is the way the Excel works. These are the different quantities. Now, what I do is I use +1. Let's see, here we go. I use +1. So we've got 3 opportunities. And we have a different scale, 5, 3, and 3. And we use the +1 to multiply that out, giving us a value. Okay, so that's 5 and 6 gives us 11. Those are opportunities, strength. Then we use a 2. We multiply that by 2, so we get 10. That's not making sense, those numbers. Okay, so I need to just check. So then you get a count. Yeah, 15 times 2 is 30. Okay, sorry, we sum it and then we go to 30. All right. And then we do it in terms of our threats and weaknesses. So there we can see we have 11 weakness. And so that causes a -22. We have 12 on threats. So it's 41, sorry, -34. So the overall force field analysis is 7. Okay, that's where we are. Fortunately, we're sitting on a +7. So this then looks like something that we should tackle. And again, if we then bring in that Tao's approach, use the strengths to take care of the opportunities, the strengths to deal with the threats, and then are our weaknesses leading to the threats. So that's quite a nice way of reviewing the business. Okay, the next step that we have to do is almost establish that what we call a common language approach. That's a lot of the times our quality issues come about due to bad definitions. Okay, so we have to find a way of agreeing what these terms are. So before you can even select your CDE and agree on your CDE, you need a definition of the CDE. Okay, so here's that technique that we use in terms of defining a business definition. The 6 friends, classification, why, who, what, when, where. And here's an example that I've done in terms of a participant, someone who does some training. Okay, so if I look at that in terms of a learner, it's a person or a group. Why? They want to improve their professional capability. Who is it? It's either a professional or a learning manager. What are they doing? They're participating with a learning resource, either DIY or a how-to course or a fundamentals. When do they do it? In the duration of the learning. On what platform do they do it? Where do they do it? How do they do it? And then how do we measure it? So we measure the learning with this knowledge, skills, competency, and abilities uplift. So this is the definition of a participant. I'm hoping you can see that that is what we need to be able to agree in terms of what the CDE means. Please don't underestimate how long that takes. There's lots of people that have to agree, and I'm sure those who work in business glossary have to work on that. Okay, and then there's really just working with the people. If we analyze our people that we have in the organization, who are the regular people? A little bit like me, they weren't in the data generation. They were before the data generation. And then how do we go from bringing our regular people and our data generation into data managers, a little bit like what Tayo Kula wants to do, and then how do we take them from data managers to data provocateurs? So those are our data champions, those are our cheerleaders, those are encouraging the business to do better. And so this is the growth path that we should be doing. And then this is what we call our DQ superhero team. Okay, so the data entrepreneur, someone who's looking at monetizing data. A defender, someone like a data steward who's checking to see that when our data is not going bad from a quality point of view. And then these are the different types of people that you can have in your team, your superhero team. Okay. And then there's another example of looking at how do we make decisions. So I'm hoping that will give you, that's sort of giving you some ideas on how do we build this sort of business case and how do we work through it. Okay, right. That's the business case. Any questions, comments on business case? It's one of those tricky ones that you won't find any one area. So this is typically where a lot of the master level questions are coming into in this area over here. There's no, you can't tie it directly to any area of the DMBOK, the data quality section. Anybody done a business case for data quality? Quiet today. Okay.
Yes,
Data quality.
Howard, Henry, I have.
Oh, okay. Henry, would you mind giving us just a description? How did you build your business case? Did it look something like I was saying, or did you did you have a different way of doing it?
Yes, we also use the 110-100 theory because that
Okay.
really works to visualize it for business,
Nice.
and then focused more on the benefits and the cost as well. So you had to
Okay.
get the right people in the room, obviously,
Sure.
because you know
Sure.
anyone selling one of these data initiatives to business is no easy feat, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so no, we definitely used it, and the Chang Lebovitz that the 110-100 really works when you put data to it, and there's actually tools in the market like Information Steward, etc., where you can put those values onto your data
Okay.
set and display it on the actual data set.
Okay, nice. Excellent.
Brilliant.
That's fantastic. Okay, so that's what that section was all about. It's about justifying to the organization that we need to make an improvement, what it's costing us, and then what do we see the benefits out of it. Basically a cost benefit analysis. Okay. All right, data quality dimensions. Okay, so I think one of the important things that I think the DMBOK does and different things is, and I think a lot of people don't always pick that up in the DMBOK, is that the DMBOK is not saying that there's one and only one definition of dimensions. And they also say that, you remember that one table, that's what DAMA UK did. Okay, so I found that very interesting is when I went through different thought leaders and their dimensions, you can see all the differences. So this one is Dan Myers. Okay, he's conform dimensions. That's where this diagram comes from. And I really like this diagram in terms of being able to share with people that you don't just, when you want to build your data quality expectation or you want to measure data quality, you typically won't measure it at this high level. How accurate is the data or how complete? You actually got to come down. And remember, as an example, this is the one that brings granularity. Remember the three granularities of the DMBOK. They talk about a column, a row, and a table. They do miss out the schema in the DMBOK. Okay, so there we have from completeness, which concept are we looking at? Is it complete at a column level? Then we know that if there are interdependent fields on the table, that would be a row, for example, an address. Then we have, is the table populated? Is the almost the universe or the set populated? And then we have a schema, which means that there are several tables. As an example, an employee or a party, they would have several tables that need to be complete for the employee to be complete. Does that make sense? Okay. We then have consistency, currency, really nice. Just people, please understand that it's not as simple as taking a dimension and then defining the business rule on that dimension. There's different aspects to it. Okay, so Strong Wang, this is the framework that they use. I like this grouping of dimensions. Why do I like it? Because there's a set of dimensions that are intrinsic to the data. The accuracy of the data, the objectivity, the believability, and the reputation. So for this data set, Does this data set have a good reputation, or BI report, or a bad reputation? What's the intrinsic data quality? Then they've got textual data quality, representational, and accessibility. So this is how Strong Wang presents this together. Okay. Then we've got Tom Redman, and you can see his grouping of dimensions. He has a data model, a data value, and a data representation, the representation of the dimensions. Okay. Then we have Larry English. He talks about inherent data quality and pragmatic data quality. Okay. So here are the elements on inherent data quality from Larry English and the elements on pragmatic. So please remember that this is all game. So if the DMBOK has questions on this, okay, this would be a person that's part of, that they can refer to in terms of the dimensions, and they can ask you questions about this. This was that diagram that I was talking about in the DMBOK that was done by Dama UK. So this is the definitions as defined by Dama UK, but please don't think that these are the one and only definitions of the dimension. That's not the case. Okay, there are several dimensions. Okay, so then we have what I tried to do was to put quite a few of these together, and basically in saying, well, this is inherent DQ, do we have enough data? Okay, simple description. Is our data, is it complete enough? Do we have the right data? Is it accurate? Does the data fit together in terms of consistency, integrity, and uniqueness? And then is the data up to date? So, right, these are the 4 elements. So again, it helps you as a business choose what are the set of dimensions that are important to you right now. Okay. And again, you may assess where you are weak in different areas that's accessible in use. Okay, there's the Dan Myers one, the relationships. So he's also saying, be careful. Accuracy is not just about agree with the real world and a match to agreed source. There's also a connection from accuracy to precision of data values. Okay, so how do I explain that very quickly? As an example, if I have a GPS location, is my data accurate enough to ensure that I get a delivery to the door? Now, that will be dependent on the number of positions I have, my decimal positions in my GPS location. So can you see that they are also connected? Accuracy as well as valid values control and different areas over here. So we also pay attention to this connectedness amongst the different dimensions on data quality. This is also nice. We have ISO 25000. Okay. Here are the inherent, and that's for products. So this is an ISO standard for products. These are the inherent ones. And then we move across the different levels of the quality of a data product. Okay. Any questions on dimensions? Let me just pause there just to make sure that I'm not going too quickly. Okay. No problems. Everyone is very happy. Okay, so this is what I've put together in terms of fit for purpose. Okay, and I like this. I like this debate that they have. And it's actually the debate was Linden Hall, who does master data. So again, remember, if we only interview one group of people, we may say, the information about our vendor is sufficient to send an invoice. Whenever we send an invoice, we get it 100%, right? So that then if we only look at one consumer, then that's great. But our problem that we're going to face is that are those 3 elements used to invoice, does that make a complete master data record? Okay. So if we want that as a customer data, what about customer service? Okay. So if we are going to maybe send data to a vendor or pay a customer or bill a customer, we may not be able to deliver it. So we would then have to go to the sales department. What's their view? We have to go, around the different departments, and we have to get this fit for purpose. Okay. So that's saying data is of high quality. And what's important then for us to say is we need to be able to ensure that the set of dimensions that we've chosen in terms of our interviews, that it passes all of those checks. That's when we know that data quality is demonstrably fit for purpose. Okay, so helpful to be able to explain that. This is another area that I liked. I got from a paper, a health paper, and they describe this thing of what is the purpose. So they would have a purpose in terms of measuring diabetes, what are the features around diabetes, and then what is the population of patients that we should check. They call that a cohort. And then what's the measurement set? So to define the purpose, that defines the population of the data that we must collect. And it also helps us define the measurement value set, what I refer to as a data quality expectation. The cohort gives us the system of records. So similar to a master data situation, we may have to find multiple tables or a schema to give us this information. And then we define this triangle of, is the purpose, have we got it complete? And we've got all the appropriate definitions defined. Okay. So that's all about getting this fit for purpose right. This is another example when we get to in the area of machine learning. Remember, if we overtrain something, if we over-engineer, if we over-complete data, we can get data that's almost too high, and then starts to show a specific bias. And certainly, I don't know about any of you, but if we have a whole lot of fields that are null on complete, and we say, let's choose the default value. Let's make the value 0. All of a sudden, we will skew the data. Okay, we've over-engineered the data. Yes, we got 100% complete, but what is the impact? We've over-engineered the cleaning, and we've created some problems. Okay, so we have to understand what's over-engineering, what's not acceptable. Okay, so we can't work with data that's this level in terms of the error rate. We can't work with data that's over-engineered. So what is fit for purpose? Or again, what we call is that Goldilocks principle, right? Not too much, not too little, just right. Okay. All right, poor quality. These are some of the impacts that we look at in terms of defining poor quality and what is fit for purpose, making the right decisions, being able to complete regulatory submissions, addressing lost revenue, increased costs, and then avoiding reputational costs. So those are the types of things that we need to do in terms of talking about fit for purpose. Okay. Then we have our introduction slides, our data quality management, and I'm running out of time, and I wanted to start the quick test, just to be able to give you guys a feeling. Let me go through this very quickly. In terms of the data quality introduction, one of the assumptions that we do is we assume that data is valuable and the data itself is reliable and trustworthy. Okay, so unfortunately, this is a common assumption that we all make, and we get very disappointed when it's not like that. Okay, and then due to lack of understanding and effects of poor quality, we start getting disappointed with our data, and we have some challenges. The next thing is no organizational business process is perfect. No organizational process is perfect. So we must know that it's going to be a never-ending job of mapping our data quality to our business process. Yes, we can be data-driven and we can fix the data quality process if it's, for example, an ETL. But if it is a business process, the data stewards have to be able to go back and constantly connect and update the business process. Continuous quality, it's a program, it's not a project. Okay, and this, I know that this was one of the questions in the exam, is how do you convince the CIO that this is not a project? Just quickly go in and fix his data in the application. Okay, most importantly, it's about updating the culture and adopting a quality mindset. Okay, that's one of the most important areas that need to be done. Data quality management. This is part of implementation. I really like the ISO definition in terms of a nice description, but I also did this in terms of the data quality frameworks and methodologies. Okay, so you want to choose a comprehensive methodology. So here's an example of ISO's definition. So they would have for data quality, how does data architecture support us with the tools and technologies, with the platform? How does data integration get involved, data operations, data security? And then what sort of resources do we need? And then we go through this process of plan, do, check, act. And we go through an iterative approach. And here is the ISO 8000 definition, master data accuracy. So it focuses a lot on master data. That's not always appropriate to data warehousing and transactional data. So we must understand where this is coming from. All right, so then the other one, the 11% on common causes. What leads to data quality problems? And these are the different areas: lack of leadership, data entry issues, data processing issues, system design, and then fixing. So those are the common causes that we have. And here's some examples of that. Different techniques that we can use: preventative versus corrective, automated, manually directed, manual correction. Those are the different techniques. Statistical approaches. So please remember this. Make sure you've got it ready for yourself in terms of in Excel so that you can do the calculation with or without replacement. I'm not going to ask you now if anyone can explain it. There's our data profiling tools. Make sure you understand the different tools. What is profiling giving us? Okay, lots of people confuse profiling with the monitoring and cleaning and assessing. Profiling is basically looking at the data without taking any inputs on our different perspectives. It's about giving you a statistical assessment on the structure of the data sitting in your database without any form of critical data element, this completeness definition. It's really just a statistical analysis of the existing data. But it's a great place to start. You cannot start building data quality rules if you don't have a good data profile. Data querying tools, being able to query the data. If I've got a null count of 60%, then can I just do a quick query and see where my nulls are? What is the problem? Different rule templates, data quality rule templates, and metadata repository. All right, readiness. How do we convince people that we need to go from application-centric that causes problems with data quality because of the different sources to a data-centric organization? And what's our actual state of data? This comes to their business case, so there's a bit of an overlap, and then culture and technical readiness. Now, I wanted to just give you some examples of the questions I had in my exam. One was validity, and they asked us about analyzing sand on the beach. Some people will give you a breakdown of the 20 different minerals within the sand, and then other people just see it as sand. Okay, so that different perspective and the way in which we're measuring it and breaking it down, that causes impact. They had a understanding of census data, and then what do we need to plan in terms of collecting our census data. Invoice data age. Sorry, I've called it data age. Okay, so for example, it's 10 years old. Can it be used? That talks to our currency. All right. And then, as Veronica says, field overloading in terms of our the issues that cause it. And then measuring accountability. So ask, are our stakeholders taking accountability for the areas that they can fix? So we have our data owners, we have our data stewards, we have our CI, our IT people. Are they taking accountability? We need to measure it and make sure that they are living up to that. And then the other aspects that were questioned: continuous improvement, operations, data quality operations, how do we define it? That plan, do, check, act, data cleansing, questions on data cleansing, and then goals. What are we trying to achieve? We're basically trying to achieve the fact that the improvements that we are getting outweigh the costs that we're spending and the benefit that we're getting on that situation. Okay, All right, so what I'd like you to do now is I believe most of you do have access to the canvas. Does everyone have access to the canvas? Do we need to give you a log on? Anyone who hasn't done the canvas, who hasn't accessed the canvas before? Okay, Dylan. There are a few people. Okay, I'll get that access. Paul, would you mind just publishing the quiz? So there's a data quality quiz. Let me just give you guys the QR code. Okay, sorry, one moment. Debbie, is Debbie around there?
Hi, hello. Yes, I am.
Do
let
you
me
have
find
the QR code? Remember, we had it on
Yeah.
our one. Why don't you just put it on the? Can you just put it on the chat?
Yes, I'm going to find it now quickly.
You.
Just give me 2 seconds. Here it is.
Okay, I've actually got it, Deb. So I'm going to just display it quickly for everybody. Okay, so there's the thanks, Debs.
Cool.
Okay, Dylan. So it was Dylan, Daniela. If you could put your hand down when you've got access to it, I'd appreciate that. So there's access to it. Now what you're wanting to do is the CDMP Data Quality Specialist exam. Okay, I think it was 10 minutes, Veronica. Is that what you gave them?
I think I put 20, but I'm not sure.
Okay, 20 minutes.
I wasn't
All
sure.
right.
Yeah,
No problem. If you guys, I mean, depends on how much time
maybe
you've got, but if
maybe
you
give them 10 minutes and then stop it.
okay, so let's just do.
I can't change it. I'm on my phone.
Okay. All right. So let's check. Okay, so let me just. Somebody's saying that the enrollment's closed. Let's go to the settings on the course. I think you're right. So the enrollments were the 10th of August. The date. That's not the date today. Enrollment is the 17th, and we want to go to the 18th. Okay, so check if you can. Let's just do an update. Okay, can everyone access the course now?
Howard?
Yes.
Sorry, I'm just going to drop off now. I've just got someone at the office calling me.
Okay, fine. Understand.
All right. But thanks for the meeting.
Hey, pleasure.
The recording will be available if you miss out.
What about the other people with their hands? Daniela, were you able to connect? And I'm not sure how to say this name. Goncola. Debbie, do you know how to say that? Goncala.
Thanks, I managed to register.
Fantastic. Thank you. So the data quality there. Oh, sorry. I am in the DIY DG. Data quality. Right, so for those of you that are not doing the quiz, Are there any questions? Is there anything that I can help you with?
Hi, Howard.
Penelope?
Hey, I'm still preparing for my fundamentals exam.
Okay.
And came across a question I couldn't find in the DM book. The question is something like the X in the engineering information subtype discriminator means, and the answer is exclusive, but I can't
Oh,
find that anywhere.
that's in your data modeling. Okay,
Yeah.
we actually, Veronica can, that's in our how to model data in our master data course. And let me show you, I'll just look for it.
Thanks.
Not really part of data quality, but it's a question.
No, sorry, completely irrelevant,
no,
but you asked for questions.
Yeah, okay. I'm just wondering if, okay, Veronica's on her phone.
Yeah, sorry, I'm out.
That's okay. Maybe you can send it to me at a later stage. It's okay.
Inclusivity, and so basically, just to describe that to you, when we have subtypes, our subtypes can either be comprehensive, meaning that every single subtype is listed, and you would do that, for example, in a life cycle diagram. Now, exclusivity is also talking about the situation of, can an entity be related to multiple subtypes at the same time? Okay, so there's that situation where, are we in a mutually exclusive scenario where you cannot have an entity with multiple subtypes, or are we standalone, if that makes sense?
Okay, yeah. That makes sense.
And then you put the X on the diagram to represent that exclusivity.
Okay.
Just trying to find, there we go. There it is. Okay. So there's the diagram there. Can you see this over here in terms of subtype, person and teacher and student? Okay, that's exclusive subtyping. So for this situation, for a class, you can't be a teacher and a student. For different classes, you may be, but does that make sense, Penelope?
Yes, that's good. Okay. Thank you.
So I think there's also this one over here, be able to say the book is authored by this person and the book is reviewed by. So the person, these two can't be the same. The person who reviews and the person who authors can't be the same. So that's when you'd use that exclusivity or the X in that information engineering.
Okay. Thank you.
Ten minutes seem like a long time when you're watching.
Yeah. Yeah, there's going to be a large gap in the recording that I'll just cut out. Sorry?
We'd want to cut out this mindless natter.
Yeah.
Except for the exclusivity one. That's quite a nice one to have.
Yeah. Someone's saying that they can't log into their profile.
Did they say?
Yeah,
that's
me. Like, I did the forgot password, but nothing's coming through. So I don't know.
Okay. Let me just check. Got all these tricks on making sure that people get in I'm going to send you an email and just to check. Mazan,
Cool.
is that
Yeah,
is that
yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
sometimes we use all different emails and we forget which one we used. The nice thing about this canvas is that it sort of hides the emails away, so those emails are hidden, which is quite a nice thing. Getting some numbers. Raj, nice. 17. Great stuff. Sini, okay. Keep on going, keep on practicing. I think Veronica, did you set it up that they can take it again?
I think so.
Okay.
I think it's got a second chance there.
All right. So Sini, if you'd like to. Mayela, nice. Good to see you in. Sini, if you'd like to do it again and just go. I think you also said that you show them what the answers are, right? They can see the answers.
Yes. I think I
Okay.
set it up for that.
All right. And they probably.
I should have set up a bank and only selected 15 and then they'd be able to see different ones, but we didn't set it up that way. I just copied questions.
Okay, great. So if they do it again, they'll probably get 100% because they saw the answers.
Yeah. Yes.
Sini, what did you battle with? What were the challenges that you were facing? Which area really caught you? Okay, understanding the questions. Okay. All right. Nice, Raj. Raj, what did you think? Are you feeling more confident? Still 73, a bit more practice? Yeah. Do me not to worry,
Yeah,
keep on
made
going.
some silly
Sorry, Raj?
mistakes. No, in the
Okay.
DQ dimensions, I got myself confused and made some mistakes. That's
Okay,
where I
okay.
lost a lot of. I need to work on them.
Okay. I think this is a lot what the nice thing about these tests is to actually see where your understanding is not where it needs to be.
Yes.
And then you can now go back to actually learning in those different areas. So always remember, getting answers wrong doesn't mean that there's Paul got 91% ins. Paul's busy checking what he did wrong. Okay, so there's some nice answers there. Okay, Doomy. Yeah, it's just nice to go through there, right? And just to understand the different areas of the questions. Again, hopefully in the next 2 or 3 weeks, we'll have a set of master questions, and that will be a little bit harder to answer, but okay. Okay. So, all right, unless are there any more questions that anyone would like to comment? If you can, we'll leave it open for a bit of time so that you can actually go through it and check through it, and then we'll close it a bit later tonight. Okay, so thanks everybody. Thanks, Henry. Nice to chat again.
Nice to see
Thank you so
you.
much.
Thanks,
Thank you.
everyone.
Cheers. Bye.
What
Thank
about opening
you.
the other quizzes so they can practice those too? The governance and the
want it?
modeling.
Yeah, we can do that.
since they're on already.
Yes, so if you would like to, we are going to open up the data governance. Helpful to go through that understanding of the categories, the exam categories, and then we have the data modeling questions. Okay, so if you would like to.
Howard? I'd
Nice,
like to be
Margaret.
able to-
Yes.
Hi. I'd like to be able to do the data governance one. I wasn't able to last time.
Okay.
This one I've done on my phone successfully through scanning the QR code.
All right, so
Are
it's
you
in the same course. So if you go back to home, you'll actually see the data governance specialist exam, Margaret.
Okay, courses. How to govern data. Okay, I've got it.
Sorry, not the course. I wonder if you can see on my screen now. So within the same course that you were in, that was DIY_DG02, there's a specialist assignment and a data governance and a data modeling. So those are the different questions. Can you see those, Margaret?
Yes, I can.
Fantastic. So you can do those if you'd like, if you want to do the different quizzes over there. There we got the master for data governance.
Okay, cool. How long will you keep this open? Can I do it later tonight?
Yes, we'll do it. I'll close it at about 8 o'clock tonight. 3 minutes.
Okay, perfect. All right, thanks so much.
Right, Margaret.
I've got to rush off now. Thanks, that was really useful. Thanks, Howard.
Everybody.
Yes.
Excellent. Okay, let me close down the recording. Then we'll